Why it's
Yeah.
so overrated. You know what I mean?
You're going to pay anyone else. One way or another, Patricia Tshitema.
1 over 100. Excellent. Some kind of combination happens.
All right, guys, welcome to It's More Than Just Money, where we dive into conversations with industry leaders, entrepreneurs, and change makers that are making a difference in the South African business landscape and abroad. Today, I'm sitting with Patricia Tshitema. She's a seasoned property investor dealing more specifically in the student accommodation space. She is Mrs. Universe South Africa. What else? You're a scientist. What don't you do? You do pageants. You do property.
I'm a mother.
You've got a foundation. You're a mother. I know you're a wife
I'm a wife,
to an amazing husband. So what is it that you're not doing? Tell us your story. What's your background?
I'm an environmental scientist, as you've said. I'm from Venda, Limpopo. To be specific, Hamakuba. I love to mention this particular village because it's a typical South African village where we grew up in a very free environment, playing on the streets, barefoot, walking to school 5 kilometers, not seeing anything called success around us. So we were just living our life freely and not knowing what we can become because we were not seeing anything that looks like it. So that is the kind of environment where I grew up. But I went to a very good high school that introduced me to opportunities. And I studied horticulture and landscaping. So I'm a horticulturist, I'm a landscaper.
What's that? What's horticulture?
It's a study of plants.
Oh, study of plants.
It's horticulture, either floriculture or you do food agriculture, anything around that. And I'm also a landscape technologist. And over the years, I wanted to just expand my career. And that's when I studied further and did my master's in environmental management. And that's where the environmental scientist part came in. And I practiced there for many years. I did very well as an executive in public sector, very, very well, recognized in different parts. But somehow it wasn't as fulfilling as I wanted it to be. So I was getting all the big salaries, all the big benefits, but I always had this desire for young people. And I continued most of the time taking money from my own pocket and paying for young people to further their studies. And each time I would do that, I would feel so good. Each time I help one person, I'll feel so good. But I have this big job that everybody admires. And I kept wondering, why is this job not fulfilling me? But if I take 10,000 and pay for a young person, I'm fulfilled, I sleep better, and I wake up happy. So I had to start interrogating those feelings to say, what's actually happening in me? What is it that I really need? And where is it that I want to see myself in the near future? And for then, I was giving myself like 5 years already to say, if I am in this field, I'm already 30 years, and I'm not feeling fulfilled, do I still want to be here?
You were 30 years old at the time.
No, my successes came when I was 21. So I became a junior manager at the age of 21.
So 21 is the magic number here, guys.
Yeah, with Rand Water. And they put me in.
You started working for Rand Water at
Yeah.
the age of 21.
Yeah.
And you were a manager.
Yes.
Without any experience, or you had prior experience?
Straight from school, I did very well at university.
Yeah.
And they were they wanted students in the horticulture space, especially women who were doing well. And I was one of the top students in Gauteng. And they took me in. I was put in a mentorship program for 2 years, and that is where my breakthrough came in, because I was trained very well by giants in the industry. For those who know horticulture, at the time, you would write a national examination where all universities will come to Pretoria, and we write one examination. That's where I got myself a top 5 in those examinations, and that's how the job came in.
And
I was very young.
Straight into management.
I went straight into management as a junior manager, and I still did very well.
And you are saying you spent maybe 9 so years in the role, but you were not fulfilled.
I wasn't fulfilled. They trained me very well. I did excellent. I was getting all the recognitions, but I wasn't fulfilled. So I left the job. I went to City of Johannesburg. I stayed for 18 months. I thought it was the most boring job ever. And there it was even a higher level position. In the industry I studied for, industry that I love so much, but I thought it was the most boring job. And in 18 months, I left City of Johannesburg, and my parents thought I was the craziest. Who would leave such a company? And I left for a very small municipality, Randfontein municipality. We know it from the West Rand, very small municipality. I left for that municipality. Why? Because I wanted a small organization where I can actually be jack of all trades. I got to City of Johannesburg, we specialized, and I thought every single day, come to work for one thing. I just couldn't do it. I couldn't do it. I needed to be jack of all trades. And Randfontein municipality, which was very small, offered me that opportunity. And there I was in Randfontein thriving, and I stayed for 9 years because I loved it. But one day I woke up, I knew this is it. I cannot continue serving people this way. I continue to take money from my kids, which is my salary, paying for young people to do what they want in order for their future to manifest. And I continue to take that salary, and I had to make a decision. Do I still want to be in the corporate world and continue to take money from my pocket, from my children, to see another young person prosper? And I knew right then, after 9 years in Randfontein, that it is not what I'm going to be doing. But I wasn't ready. So I went to another municipality. I went to Mogale City municipality, also a very high position, well-paying. And I stayed there for 4 years. In that 4 years, I registered my business, property investment, Bono Property Group. And I started working during the day at the municipality, at night, weekend, and holidays. I worked for my business. In that 4 years, I had increased my portfolio from 20 beds in 2018 and 400 beds 3 years later, which was in 2021. So 18, 19, 20, and 21 as a full-time employee, holding a position of power and authority that needs a lot of my attention, I opened this business. I started with 20 students. And in year 3, I have 400 students. I already had employees by then. Yeah. And I knew then that the time has come. So when I came into the property space, it's because in my 20s, because as I said, I became a junior manager earlier, I started buying properties. I'll buy and dispose. Yeah. And I will make money from that. So now I knew that if I could go into property, I'll be able to make money and fulfill the desire to empower young people. And later on, that's when, in that 4 years, being in Mogale City, I started property investment, and the business just grew fast and sustainable whilst I'm still an employee.
How did your background in environmental, as an environmental scientist,
yes,
affect your property investment journey?
Okay, now, when you are environmental management specialist, or in the municipality specifically, you deal a lot with developers. There's a lot of environmental authorizations that are required. And also you deal a lot with your town planners. So you become well acquainted with environmental management requirements and town planning, and you know where to go, who to talk to, who to work with. So I started forming these relationships because I know the field. I can do my own environmental sensitivity report. I can do my own wetland report, whatever, all those things. And when I'm a developer, I have to hire specialists to do those. So I saw my career, my knowledge and experience coming in handy because I could do these things on my own without hiring an expensive consultant to do them for me. And in case where I can't, I know who to talk to, and they're going to give these things to me at a reasonable price. So I got so many linkages and collaborations because that's the environment I flourished. And that environment is what makes your property investment, especially if you're a greenfield developer, more successful. So yes, that's how it comes in handy every single day. If we've got a property, I know what to do town planning wise and environmental management wise without asking anybody.
But as a woman, right, how did you navigate all these male-dominated industries? Because from the age of 21,
Yeah.
you were a leader or a manager to people that had been in the industry, some even
many
maybe
years.
many years
Yes.
before you were even born for
Yes.
some of them.
So when I got there, the youngest person in the team was 32 years. The rest were your 50s and those that are about to go on pension when I got to Rainwater. And I'm a girl.
And you're
Remember,
21.
they're calling me a girl. And I've even gained weight now. I was very tiny. And they're just saying, Lomtana. But the best thing that I experienced then was that when you come in and you have invested in self, when you're going to school, you study and you understand what you're studying. When you're given a mentorship opportunity, you learn. So that is investing in self. When you've done that, and when you speak to people, you speak what is familiar, and they can see that you understand what you're talking about, that you understand the field, the environment, they are going to give you respect. I managed mainly your typical Zulu men. Though they are not easy to manage, especially as a young woman. But you won't believe that I was the favorite manager even at that point. The manager who trained me there, Mr. Leslie Ho, is still there today. He still talks about me, how the team embraced me and how they would protect me because they realize I am there not because I was chosen as a woman, but because I had the knowledge of what they've been doing for the last 30 years. And I do it with so much respect. When Kali was introducing me, she said, I can't remember if you used the word humble or kind. Those are the words that people associate me with. Mm-hmm. And because of that, when I enter spaces, people tend to give me the respect I deserve because I do not come in arrogantly. I come to you with so much respect that I believe you deserve. So in every space that I go, I tend to dominate humbly and respectfully, and I'm received very well.
So I think now you've got probably over 700 students.
Yes.
With your business.
Yes.
And you've got lots of properties. So tell me, but the focus has always been affordable housing and student accommodation. Yes. You could have gone luxury. You had the resources to do it. You could have gone medium LSM and provide housing for those kind of property units. What made you go for affordable housing and student accommodation?
I believe that I'm living a life of purpose. I believe that my life is not just for me, but for the next person. So whatever opportunity I take, it's an opportunity where the majority of South Africans are going to benefit, where I know that it's going to make the greatest of impact, where I know that this is going to be their first home, and that feeling of owning a first home is unmatched. I once owned a home at 23, and I can remember that feeling even today. That feeling of owning my first home. When I am serving the students, they move from across South Africa to Gauteng, not knowing where they are going, not knowing if the environment will be suitable enough for them to study and be great and be a success they want to be. I want that space because it is a space that when you're touched by it, when you touch someone in that space, their life will never be the same again, and they will never forget that moment. Mine is to change South Africa one day at a time, to touch the lives of people in South Africa one day at a time. There is no better space in the property investment than affordable housing and student accommodation to do just that.
So when you look at the vision when you founded the company and how the vision has evolved now, what's the difference? What's the in-between?
We can't say there's a difference, but there's a build-up to it. There's new things that are coming in. So I wanted to create a business that will build generational wealth and create opportunity for young people. In that process, when I finally find myself having 700 plus students and I'm seeing them in my property every day or in my properties every day, I realized what God wanted from me was not just to provide the shelter for them, but to empower their life for the greater good. And that is where Opal Students Foundation came in. Because when I looked at the business and how it is growing, I knew that bringing in a foundation is going to be more impactful and it's going to accelerate opportunities that we are bringing in for young people. And by simply establishing that foundation, we started gaining collaborations and partnerships from big businesses that comes in to say, we want to train your young people. We want to mentor them. We want to give them opportunities for growth. We want them to be impactful leaders of tomorrow. So the business itself, in turn, encouraged me to have this foundation that is today deemed as one of the most impactful platforms in South Africa when it comes to youth empowerment.
And then, I mean, with Opal students, you ended up setting up a foundation.
Yes.
And within the student accommodations, you also actively teach students to invest in property. Can you take us through what the thinking behind that is? You've got young people that are there to study,
Yes.
and they live in your properties.
Yeah.
And at the same time, they're learning how to do property because
Yes.
you are there.
Yes. Because, as I said earlier, this for me is a calling. I'm living a life of purpose. That's what I believe. Yes, I've got this thriving business. It's a multi-million business today. It's got over 700 students. But is that all that I need as Patricia? I've always known from the corporate that I need more than that. I want to impact lives of young people. So when these young people are in our facilities and I'm looking at all the careers that they're following, I knew that there's a space for them to learn property investment. I'm an environmental scientist, but now a property investor. I don't know.
Award-winning property investor. I'll say it for you. Don't worry. If you can't say it, I will say it for you. An award-winning, multi-award-winning property investor.
That's what I wanted to say, but I didn't know how to say. I feel like.
Don't worry, you're in the right space.
Yes. So I felt I've got a platform big enough to empower young people to follow what I have followed, without having to worry about the cost implications, where to go for funding, and everything in between. Because I'm already familiar with the space, I'm successful in it, I can actually hold them by hand and take them to the different spaces. So I opened up a mentorship program for the young Opal students, and they have to perform well at school first before I enroll you in my mentorship program as an Opal student. You have to do well. We host gala dinner where we award excellence, and your top performing students are awarded in that space. And those students are then taken on to a property investment mentorship. We see them through that entire process, and our intention is to see them become property investors young. And when that is happening, I know that I'm fulfilled. I've got an opportunity. I was mentored by people who showed me where to go, what to do, how to do it. I want to give it for free to the young Opal students. The Opal students that we're talking about, for those who don't know them, our student name brand is Opal Students. It's in Gauteng. Everyone who stays there, we call them an Opal student. So they've got this free opportunity to be trained in anything they want to be, but specifically property investment.
What motivated the vision? Apart from you saying you've got a calling and you say, what exactly do you want to see as the outcome of that?
You know, when every time we talk about how unemployment rate of the young people specifically in South Africa is, I'm always motivated to say, you are well capable, Patricia, of creating a space in which you can contribute towards the reduction of unemployment among the young people in South Africa. That's all I'm working towards. I want independent young women and men who can end up being entrepreneurs and create more jobs. So I want to create the few jobs that I'm creating. I want to empower young people to be able to create more jobs. And I believe that chain is going to create many jobs in South Africa. And one day, I believe we'll start seeing joblessness going down. That's basically what I want in my life.
And the balance for you? Balancing your role as a business leader, a wife, a businesswoman, a mother. What drives you to excel in all these areas? Because it sounds like you've got a passion to excel in all of it.
You know, when you get to a certain space, you don't worry too much about whether you have done everything you planned today or not. I'm at that stage where I do what I'm able to do today. So my balancing comes from accepting that I cannot do everything every single day. My balancing came from the fact that I know I have to do 1, 2, 3, and the rest will wait for the next day. I've got a great support structure. My husband just passed here now.
He's here. I can
there
see
he
him.
is.
There he is.
Very supportive, very, very supportive, especially in business. We do quite a lot of things. I do give him a lot of responsibilities and he ran around for me to do those things. Therefore, I'm able to focus. Now the foundation has grown so much that I had to employ a person who now runs the foundation. So it means part of that stress has been taken over by this person. I've got my own children and assistants at home to make sure that all these things are balanced. So I never stress about these things like I used to before. For me, I accept I have to be assisted where I can't, and I can only do so much. I really don't worry about these many things. If I can do it today, I do it. If I can't do it. But the spirit of excellence in me never allows me to not pay attention to so many things, but I do them at the right time because I accept that I can only do one thing at a time.
So what advice do you have for women that are leading in male-dominated industries as well? And they've got husbands, they've got kids, they've got businesses that they're running, and a whole lot of stakeholders that are involved in business.
Yeah. So I believe that as women, we complain a lot, including myself, that we have to work hard twice more than the male counterpart. And that is true. Whenever we get, especially to spaces where it is male-dominated, we have to really show ourselves that we are indeed capable. But with all of that, I learned that I need to invest in myself at any given point through education. That is why I went and paid a very expensive mentorship program at the beginning of this career in property investment. I paid a lot of money because I knew that if I do so, and I've got the know-how, I've got the knowledge, when I approach those spaces, they're going to listen to my voice. So I do not come into that space empty. I've got the same input as every other male in the property investment space. I am so informed about what's happening in the space. I have studied with the University of Cape Town. I've formed so many networks. I see some of my networks here. I have actually managed and led the development of a 60 million rand property for 376 students. That is the first development that we did. And when I was doing that, I was also studying with Cape Town because I needed to understand. But when I approached those meetings, I approached them from a point of knowledge, a point of power. I trust myself so much. I do not get to this space and this table is full of men and I start to be scared. I go there knowing that my voice is as powerful as that man because I have invested in myself. So my advice to the women is that invest in yourself no matter what. Make sure you go for that education. Make sure you network with the right people. Do not be afraid to ask questions. When you get to that point where you know that you understand what this field is about, enter those tables and make sure that your voice is felt. I know mine is felt, and I'm not afraid to raise it at any given point.
They feel it, eh? You guys. I love that. So tell me, Tshitema, if you could go back and give one piece of advice to a younger self, what advice would it be? And it seems from a young age you got it right anyway. So let me put it this way maybe. What affirmation would you give yourself in terms of, hey, you're doing well, 1, 2, 3, and what advice would you then give yourself?
Yes, you are so right to say I always got it. I want to believe I always got it because I was never at any point in my life where I did not believe that greatness belongs to me.
Oh, yes.
I've never found myself outside of that.
Love it.
So, affirmations, you are great. Advice, if I'm going back to that point when I was 16, continue to be great because I believed then that I was great.
How important is it to believe? I mean, sometimes, it sounds so cliche, believe in yourself or believe.
Yes.
But what is the actual power of doing it?
That power is so big. That is the same power that made me sad when I was 20, 25.
Because I believe I'm great too,
You are.
Yeah.
That is the power of speaking these things to self. Is exactly the same power. When I was 25, I said to my parents, at the age of 45, I'm going to leave the corporate world because I'll be very rich. I told them at 25, but I never spoke about it again. But I always thought about it. I'll speak it to myself, not to anybody. So I started protecting that information and kept it to myself and continued to tell myself. And that is why at the age of 35, I was already working towards that dream and I could see it will come to fruition. And when I was 38, my mother said to me, I cannot believe you are going to achieve it. My favorite grandmother, who passed away a few years ago, may her soul rest in peace, she kept saying to me, you are such a gifted child. You are special. You are going to be something greater. When I was 38, she said, the same year my mother spoke to me, she said, the things I'm seeing about you are scary because God is going to do greater. And what you told us when you were 25, it's going to be. At the age of 42, I left the corporate world. And I sit here today as an award-winning property investor in a field in which I did not go to university for.
With a multi-million rand property portfolio.
Over 100 million
Over
property
100
portfolio.
million. Yes.
But I told these things to myself because I've always believed I am great and I'm going to be greater. And when I heard my family confirm this to say, we can see you working towards it, I felt so encouraged and I worked harder. And to sit here today to say, I've got more than 700 students that I'm empowering to be property investors because I want them to be leaders of impact and change South African landscape when it comes to joblessness, I am fulfilled.
Your husband must give a mentorship on how to find a powerful wife. We will learn now.
Oh my goodness.
A master class on how to find a wife. Guess I'm plugging you, eh?
Oh my goodness.
So, do you have any message for South Africa, more specifically for people that are in pursuit of their careers, their businesses, their professional lives, and they are aspiring to build a life worth living? What advice do you have for those people?
I would say to every single person that we are great and we all deserve greatness. But in our pursuit for greatness, let us not forget ourselves. Let us not lose ourselves. Let us not lose our focus. I think we tend to focus too much on that which we want and that we start losing on every other opportunity around us. Maybe that which we want so hard is not exactly where we're supposed to be. So I'm saying in our pursuit for greatness, let us be so open to everything else around us because our path might just be channeled. And I think I managed to do that. My path was channeled by chance because my eyes were so open to what was happening around me in my pursuit for greatness. So you all deserve greatness, but be open to opportunities around you. You never know where it's gonna take you.
Sure. Do you have any mentorship programs that you are running? I mean, I know it's for the students, but I'm trying to plug the adults as well.
Okay, yes, so our mentorship is not only for students. The reason why we only made public the student mentorship is because we just had too much in our plates and we had a lot of students to empower. So other people outside of Opal, only those who would come to us and say, mentor me, we will take them. But now after Leading Woman Award and Investor of the Year, I'm getting a lot of inquiries. So I decided, okay, it's fine. We're going to open it to everybody. So now we have opened our mentorship program for everyone, where we walk with you the journey into property investment, hoping that one day you're going to be in the big leagues. We have relationships with many potential funders. We've built collaborations and partnerships. We've been in the business for a few years now. We know how to successfully run your student accommodation and also rental apartments or houses. So we are in a position where we can actually work with you and give you the practical steps into becoming a successful property investor.
That's great. And then tell me something as we are drawing to a close. If you were to speak to a young person sitting at home right now, watching us through the screen, and you were to empower them with information that they can go use tomorrow morning when they wake up after watching this, what would you say to them?
I'm never going to tell anyone that you can run now to TAF and they'll give you funding. Or you can go to GPF, or you can get an angel investor and then your property journey will just... For me, you have to start from the bottom line. Knowledge is power. You have to go through either a mentorship program or anywhere where you can go and be taught. Remember, when you become a property investor, there are so many things to look at. Even what kind of investment strategy you'd like to follow and who can be your partner, exploring aspects of collaborations, sourcing of funding, all these many things. So I don't want to say to them, tomorrow you can go here. But I want to say to them, if you want to be a property investor, align yourself with institutions such as SAPIN, the institution you are also aligned to, aligning with yourself, aligning with our mentorship, align yourself with the people that can teach you and give you the basics into property investment before you can take that big step. Because we don't want you to make the same mistakes that we made. We can actually protect you from those silly mistakes if you just follow the right route before the actual investment.
So aligning with the right people, building the right relationships.
Yes.
Thank you so much for coming and joining us this morning, now afternoon.
Thank you very much.
For sharing value with us. Do you have any closing words?
Wow. I just want to thank you, Witness, for giving me this opportunity to sit in your powerful platform in front of your powerful people here to share my experience, to share my journey in property investment. So thank you so much for bringing me here. I also hope that the message that I shared today would somehow assist somebody here who wants to be in the big leagues, somebody here who may have been scared to start. It is the time to start now. It's the time for you to start investing in yourself. It is the time for you to start mingling and networking with the right people, such as Witness and everybody whom we sing here. So thank you so much for inviting me today. I hope that I have really imparted knowledge and skill to a lot of your guests today.
Thank you so much. Let's give her a round of applause. And if you are watching online and you are not inspired, I don't know what's going to inspire you. Please do remember to support our work by subscribing. Click on that subscribe button, click on that notifications bell. The best way you can support us is to share this video with someone else so that more lives can be impacted.
Yeah.
From myself, Witness Mdaka, and Patricia Tshitema, and my team broadcasting from the It's More Than Just Money business breakfast at the Protea Hotel in partnership with TAF, Trust for Urban Housing Finance, who empower entrepreneurs to invest in property, commercial property in urban areas. Signing out, It's More Than Just Money. I'll see you in the next episode. And I promise you I'm not reading a script. I'm just that good. Bye.